Hello there, guys. Welcome back to another video. So we're here this morning talking about Mykhailo Mudryk. The FA has recently announced that they are trying to impose a 4-year ban on this brother for the anti-doping case that he is going through right now, along with Millie Bright, a club legend on the women's side of the club, officially retiring at the end of this season, and what that means for that side of the football club going forward and her impact on the women's game, along with Anthony Gordon linked to Chelsea. Xabi Alonso also seems like he's a front runner to be the manager of Chelsea Football Club, along with other names that we will go over. Also, talking about Jose Mourinho possibly returning to Real Madrid and how big of an impact that could actually be for that club. So if you like these videos, you like talking about football content, soccer, anything like that, drop a like, sub, get engaged in the comments. I read all the comments. I respond to all the comments. And the first thing that we're going to pull over to here, guys, is we're going to go ahead and talk about Mykhailo Mudryk. This is the main thing in the video here about why in the hell this is taking so long to actually get sorted out. And now it looks like this case is being brought to CAS, the Court of Arbitration of Sport. So if we pull over here to the first piece of news, right? I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Go ahead and, well, actually, there we go. So from Fabrizio Romano, the FA banned Chelsea winger Mykhailo Mudryk for 4 years for an anti-doping offense. Mudryk has appealed to CAS against the decision, with process ongoing. As Ben Jacobs reported, 4 years would be the maximum punishment if possible, right? And it's just more confirmation here that Mykhailo Mudryk has been handed a 4-year ban by the FA. Now it is being appealed by the court arbitration of sport, and you know the FA has banned Mudryk for 4 years for an anti-doping offense. The maximum punishment, as we see, they filed documents on February 5th of 2026. And this is my thing about this, man. And we pull over here, and Azar Kinsella essentially reporting the same thing. I mean, where do we begin with this, right? Now, back in, I believe it was, what was it, late 2024, we heard about the anti-doping case between, when he went to the Ukrainian national team, there was an incident with him where he took something that he was unaware of, and they got the A sample back and it came out positive, and we're still looking for that B sample test, and it still hasn't been revealed on what's really going on. But if he's going to be possibly facing a 4-year ban, then there's probably some type of substance to why it's coming out now that he's going to get the ban for this, right? Do I necessarily agree with people doping up and doing all that? No, but I still want to see like the B sample. I still want to see if he's actually, guilty of what he did. I don't think he is. I would like to believe that he had no idea what he was taking when he went to the Ukrainian national team, but my thing is, if he does get this ban, then his career is effectively over, because no club is going to come anywhere near him. With being out for 4 years, no club is going to come anywhere near him. Paul Pogba, right, just came back, and he's at Monaco right now. He just came back, and he's actually playing pretty well out there in France. But the difference with Mykhailo Mudryk is that he was such a divisive player in the fan base that not a lot of fans want to see him back. But for me, I would like to see him back, because I think when he's available, he's our best left winger. Alejandro Garnacho and Jamie Gittins are not the answer. Mykhailo Mudryk was actually playing well under Enzo Maresca and was getting better as a player. My thing is, I hope he wins this appeal. I really hope he does, because I would hate to know that he did something while he was under contract, which violates the contract, which means that Chelsea can terminate it. Shakhtar get no money. The Ukrainian Federation, the Ukrainian FA, would have a lot of explaining to do, not just to Shakhtar, but to Chelsea, on why you allowed this man, or why you gave these players performance enhancements. That would be my question. Is like, why are we giving your players on your national team performance enhancements to make them perform better? I don't understand that. I've never understood the whole doping thing in sports. It's like, you can always work out and get better. You can always go out there and run a bit more. You can always be out there and put your best effort in, even if you're not like the strongest player out there. I just don't understand like the entire doping thing, man. I don't understand why players do it. I don't understand why it's even a thing now. But unfortunately for him, he's going to have to fight this case. He's going to really have to prove that he didn't do it. And if the B sample comes back positive, which it seems like it may have been, then my man, like, you had an idea of what you were ingesting in your body. And that alone already is a violation of your contract. So it's going to get terminated and you won't be playing for this club anymore, which is really unfortunate because I'm one of the people that had really high hopes for him. I still believed in him even when he was playing like shit, because I'm like, I can see the talent. I can see the want to be out there. But what he was doing on the pitch didn't match what he wanted to do mentally. So it's going to CAS. It's going to the Court of Arbitration of Sport. We'll see what happens. We'll see if the sentence is reduced or all charges get dropped and he's able to come back into the club and actually play football again, because he's on the side doing his own personal training stuff in the event that he's able to come back. But I think right now the damage is already done, and if he's found guilty of it, then bro, I'm sorry, man. Like, you have to know better. You just do. So when we get more stuff on Mykhailo Mudryk, when we get more stuff on what's going to be going on in this case, I'll be sure to let you guys know, along with other people that are covering this story. But I would like to say this. I hope he's able to come back, because I really want to see this brother play, because I see the potential in him, and I see the pace that he does have is something that we just don't have on the wings, and that would be something electric to see along with Esteval on the other side, right? But we'll see what happens, man. So another thing that we can touch on here is this piece right here, and like, I'm actually like pretty geeked about this. I'm not a Real Madrid fan, right? But this is the kind of stuff here that like you really do want to see. Jose Mourinho, right? Chelsea's greatest ever manager and one of the greatest managers of all time, in my opinion. Jose Mourinho, when asked about Real Madrid, my next goal is to get Benfica in the Champions League. If we win the next 3 matches, we'll play in Europe's biggest competition. That's the only thing on my mind. Now, I feel like if Real Madrid do come calling, I feel like if they do, eventually Florentino Perez is leading the search right now for him, I do believe that he will go back. Now, will the players be okay with that? I don't know. Like, a lot of these players want to be able to run the club for themselves. They want to be able to dictate what they want to do on the pitch. This is why Xabi Alonso is no longer the manager at Real Madrid, because the players didn't want to play in his system and they didn't want to have positional play. They just wanted to play how they usually play. And Real Madrid, to be honest with you, even though they're second in La Liga, they've been pretty much dog water for more than half the season. And it's showing in their play. They're dropping points continuously. They're not in the Champions League anymore because they get absolutely railroaded by Bayern Munich. Real Madrid are at a crossroads in their club's history where they haven't won silverware now for 2 straight seasons. When have we ever said that Real Madrid haven't won silverware? At some point in a campaign, right? At some point, whether it's the Copa del Rey, whether it's La Liga, or whether they're going deep in the Champions League and they win it. Like, it's crazy. But can Jose Mourinho bring those trophies back to the club and actually compete with Barcelona at the top? Because Barcelona now are going on the 2nd year in a row of winning the Spanish league, right? Convincingly. Now they still play Madrid in May, but the title is the title race is dead. The title race is dead. Barcelona is going to win La Liga again, and Jose Mourinho, in my opinion, would be able to bring not just the fans back on side, but I think he would bring the Real Madrid board back on side too. And Jose Mourinho would be able to get certain players into this club to actually wake up a few of these players that think that they're running the club right now, like a Vinicius Jr., like Kylian Mbappe, like Jude Bellingham, right? Like these players that have the egos at this club, I think would be humbled if Jose Mourinho came back. That's just my opinion. I really think that if Jose Mourinho went back to Real Madrid will be a completely different animal to play against, because defensively they will be difficult to break down. Now, Jose Mourinho's attacking ideas aren't the greatest, but if you're getting a couple goals and then you're just asking a Jose Mourinho team to sit back and defend, we saw that at Chelsea in his first stint, and we even saw that a little bit in his second stint. His teams don't concede goals if they have the right defensive structure. There's a reason why Chelsea have the lowest goals conceded in a season. He was the manager for that. Now, that was over 20 years ago, but that 20-year-old record is still standing to this day. No team has conceded less than 15 goals ever in a league season outside of Chelsea in 04-05. So, Jose Mourinho going back to Real Madrid, I would be here for. I want to know from Real Madrid fans in the comments, would you like to see him back at the club? And if you don't want to see him at the club, who would you guys seriously go after? Because there's not a lot of big names out there that could take this profile of a club to that next level. Even though they're already at that next level, Real Madrid need to be one of those top 2 or 3 teams in the world continuously. They're the biggest club in the world for a reason, but right now they're outside of those top 5 teams in the world, because the way that it's being ran at the management level and the way the players just seem like they're just not playing anymore. You need a manager in there that has the authority and that commands respect. Carlo Ancelotti was the only manager to manage this crop of players and actually get something out of them. Now, they didn't win the Champions League last season. They didn't win the Spanish League last season or Copa del Rey, but Carlo Ancelotti is the same guy that can get players like Jude Bellingham to play, that can get players like Vinicius Jr. to play. Why? Because Carlo Ancelotti demanded the respect from these players, and the players respect a winner. Xabi Alonso is a winner, but I don't think these players really believed in what he was trying to do on the pitch. So Jose Mourinho is possibly heading back to Real Madrid. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel about that, man. It'll be really interesting. And then, like, there's another thing I want to pull up here before we get into Anthony Gordon and Millie Bright, right? So it looks like Chelsea will not be paying Lemar Sr. the remaining of his contract. Chelsea have informed Sr. that he will not receive a full payout for the remainder of his 6.5-year contract, because he didn't need to be getting paid the money that you guys were paying him. It's absolutely ridiculous that they paid him this amount of money, and they still paid him 24 million, by the way. Like, for what? He brought us further and further down the table. The players didn't believe in him, and Blueco themselves keep making stupid mistakes with these managers, and they're paying them obscene amount of money, and then they have to pay him out. They paid out Graham Potter his full 5-year contract, totaling 60 million, 12 million a year, by the way. Like, they need to get this right. They absolutely need to get this managerial appointment right. And with the names that are being linked, right? With the names that are being linked, right? This is the man that everybody seems like is going to take over the job. It's being reported now by bigger outlets that Chelsea have reached out to Xabi Alonso's representatives yesterday to explore a possible deal, right? Look, this is what I'm going to say, okay? This is what I'm going to say here. If you go get somebody like this, shit has, like, it has to change. Like, it has to change. Like, there would be no reasoning to bring this man in if you're not going to change up how you're bringing in, like, your recruitment. Now, the sporting directors can say that they're going to report their findings to the owners, which goes against the club's statement that they put out a few days ago regarding that they will take their time with this appointment and they will do their due diligence in a point of self-reflection. the sporting directors reporting to the owners is not self-reflection. The sporting directors should be able to identify which manager can take this team forward in collaboration with getting players in that the manager needs. The ownership should not have any say on which manager realistically comes in. They just need to handle the business side of things and just give the money to the sporting directors to get the players that the manager wants. This is what Enzo Maresca wanted. This is what Pochettino wanted in a sense. This is even kind of what Lee Messina wanted in a sense. Like, he wanted some type of say on what players came in. Now, could we trust Lee Messina's judgment in players? Probably not. But I could trust Enzo Maresca's. I can trust maybe even like Pochettino to an extent. Thomas Tuchel, right? I can trust those managers. Xabi Alonso, I would be able to trust that he can get in players that will make this team better. He is a positional player. He is a positional player style manager where he wants players to play in certain positions, high press, high possession, and creating chances. And that's something that this team needs. And it also needs a defensive structure, but our problem is defensively, and it's just being clinical in front of goal. And that's something that we have been lacking. And we scored a goal against Leeds at the weekend, but it's our first goal in over a month, realistically. So is it possible that he comes in and he is the new manager? We have to continue to wait and see. Honestly, we really have to continue to wait and see. As more news comes out, as more stories come out, I will try to bring you the best content possible on that, because I would love Xabi Alonso to be the manager of this club, because I think he will be the answer to what we're looking for in terms of a project and building a team that nobody really wants to play against. Thomas Tuchel said that when he first came in, that he wants to build a Chelsea team that nobody wants to play against. Enzo Maresca was building a team that, and I'll even bring this up real quick, that I found very interesting from Luis Enrique yesterday when he was speaking about, is this Bayern Munich team the most difficult team that you've ever faced, right? So, and this is why I say, like, was sacking him really like the best move to do? I don't know. I'm still saying it wasn't. But if we pull over here, right? A reporter asked him yesterday after the game, after that sensational game yesterday from between PSG and Bayern Munich, where PSG went 5-4. A reporter asked him, is this Bayern side the toughest opponent you faced in your career? No, it's still Enzo Maresca's Chelsea. Enzo Maresca's Chelsea was a big team's worst nightmare. A big team's worst nightmare. Because we didn't have a lot of possession when we played these teams that we absolutely ripped up. PSG had high possession in that game, and we hit them on the counterattack 3 different times, and we scored 3 goals. The one thing PSG hates is when teams counter them in midfield and you win the ball high up in their area, on their side of the field. They hate it because they push up so many players that they don't have enough players to track back. And the fact that somebody like Luis Enrique is saying that Enzo Maresca's Chelsea is one of the most difficult teams that he's ever faced says a lot about Enzo Maresca, right? I'm not saying that he's an elite manager, but what I'm saying is the way that he set up this Chelsea team was very difficult for teams to break down. He was rarely conceding. His worst defeat, like I keep saying, was a 3-0 win or 3-0 loss to Brighton away. That was his worst loss as manager at Chelsea. Lee Messina managed 5 of those results in a month, right? So these are the things that I'm talking about here. The board prematurely sacked this man because he wanted certain players in and he spoke out about what's going on above him. He's a grown man. He has ideas and he has a way that he wants to play, and he wanted certain players in, and we weren't able to give that to him. That's not on Enzo Maresca. That's on the people up top. So again, man, to hear him say something like that, and I'm not the biggest fan of him because of how he conducted himself after the Club World Cup when we beat PSG. But again, it's like Luis Enrique is an outstanding manager, man. An outstanding manager, and may more than likely go back to back in the Champions League with PSG. So I love seeing quotes like that because it validates my position even more that Enzo Maresca was really the guy for this club, right? So a few things before we touch on a club legend that is now no longer going to be here at the end of the season. I'm going to go ahead and speak on Anthony Gordon real quick, right? Chelsea are interested in Anthony Gordon. A deal would not be dependent on Champions League. Sources say Chelsea are looking at top league ready-made experienced players who are playing in a tough schedule. Now, is this PR or is this, something that we should really take seriously? I'm going to say this. There's a lot of people that don't want Anthony Gordon at the club, but we were linked with him when the ownership first took over. I'll say this, Anthony Gordon is better than what we have right now. Now, who would I go for? I've been saying this for the longest time. Go get Rafael Leao. The dude needs a change of scenery. Now, European football may be an indicator on whether or not we get a player like that, but if he's available for 50 million or 60 million, Chelsea should be snatching AC Milan's hand off for that. There's no reason why we should not go after a Rafael Leao, bro. That's who I would go for. That is the ideal left winger. I know there's Kenan Yildiz and stuff like that, but Rafael Leao is somebody else that is a winger that I would be on board for because he is the type of direct risk-taking winger that plays with joy and that doesn't, and he's a systemless player. You can have him in your system, but every single team needs a player that can play outside of what the manager wants and just cook, right? Like Pep Guardiola has Jeremy Doku, and Jeremy Doku is a guy that doesn't play within Pep Guardiola's system, but he's a guy that will drive at your defense, that will cause problems for your fullbacks and create something out of nothing, right? That's what he does. Every single team needs a player that is systemless, and he would be that guy that I would go out for as the big money signing just to bring him in. And if Xabi Alonso is the manager next season, you can't tell me that Xabi Alonso and Rafael Leao would not cook together, bro. They would not cook. They would absolutely rip it up. Now, the Premier League is not Serie A. The Premier League is not the Bundesliga. But the one thing that the Premier League has over those two leagues is the intensity. I think Rafael Leao would thrive in the Premier League. Why? Because his risk-taking ability and his dribbling ability, we don't have a lot of these players in the Premier League right now. Ryan Cherki is a great example of a guy that came from Ligue 1, came into the Premier League, and his technical ability, his vision, and the IQ that he has can translate into any league. I think Rafael Leao's attacking threat and his dribbling ability can translate into the Premier League. Now, he'll take more contact, he'll take more physicality, but at the end of the day, Chelsea need players like this in the squad that can take it to the next level. That's what this team needs. So Anthony Gordon wouldn't be the worst signing for this club because he's better than what we have. But my preference is Rafael Leao. That's all I'm going to say on that. But Anthony, if we end up making a move for him, Chelsea fans shouldn't be getting too upset because you would rather keep Garnacho and Gittins. I'm just saying. I'm not saying we want to, but I'm saying we can't be so naive and say that he wouldn't do well at Chelsea. I think he would do just fine, honestly. I think he's better than what we have. But it's being reported by The Athletic, and we'll see what happens, man. The last thing I want to touch on here is this woman right here, Millie Bright. Now, she is an absolute legend of the club, right? We'll go ahead and pull over here. An absolute legend of the football club. Millie Bright has today announced her retirement from professional football, bringing an extraordinary Chelsea playing career to a close. Everyone at Chelsea would like to thank Millie for her incredible commitment and dedication to the club over the last 12 years. Her legacy is never done. We are delighted she will remain part of the Chelsea family as a trustee of the foundation and club ambassador. Thank you for everything, Millie. And there's the clip right here where she's just talking about how she wants to take control of her life again. The past 12 years, it's going on their time. And now she feels like it's the right time to step away from the game and just be the ambassador, one of the main ambassadors at the club. And Millie Bright, thank you for your service. Like, thank you for everything, right? Eunice, people look at her as a female JT, which in many ways is true, but she's the one and only Millie Bright. Without figures like her in the women's team would not have grown to where it is now. She has been the definition of loyalty, without a doubt, a true leader who led the team to so many trophies. Happy retirement, club legend. And she did lead the team to so many trophies. The only thing that she was missing was the Champions League. That is the only thing this woman was missing in her club career. And I wish she did get it done when they played Barcelona in the Champions League final a few years ago. But that Barcelona team is absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. And I hate Barcelona, but the Barcelona women's team, oh, they are a joy to watch. I will say this. Putellas, Bomonti, all of these girls over there are absolutely sensational to watch. And Spain next year in the Women's World Cup, right now would probably be my favorites to win it. But again, thank you, Miss Bright. You have been an inspiration to a lot of women out there in the women's game, and you showed the levels that it takes to be a club legend. You showed what it means to play for the badge as well. And happy retirement. You absolutely deserve it. And you will probably, in my opinion, go down as one of the greatest women's Chelsea players of all time. Of all time. So, yeah, man. With that being said, guys, I'm gonna get up out of here. I got some stuff I gotta take care of. I gotta go to work soon. I gotta take care of some stuff around the house. But if you haven't already, if you got this far in the video, drop a like, sub, smash that like button. Get your thoughts in the comments about everything that we talked about. Anthony Gordon, Mykhailo Mudryk's 4-year ban, Jose Mourinho possibly returning back to Real Madrid, Millie Bright officially retiring from the women's game at the end of the season, and Xabi Alonso links. Is he gonna be the manager? Who do you guys want to see as manager? And who do you guys want to see on that left wing position? Let me know in the comments. I'm Jason, No Filter Chels. I'm on the road to 2,000 subs. If you haven't, sub, comment, like, do all that cool stuff. Share this video with your friends, with the Chelsea community, football community. Get this video out there. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for all the support. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.